Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today, man, I kind of just want to take a look at this TikTok, right? Because I saw this and I was immediately like, wow, it finally clicks for me why everybody seems to have this stigma globally that, like, Americans are dumb. So, like, when Americans go abroad, right? When Americans travel to places like Europe, to Asia and whatnot, there's a pretty big stigma. You know, a lot of people in these places believe that Americans are, like, pompous, very entitled, they're kind of stupid, they don't really care about or respect cultural norms outside of their own, things like that, right? And it's a pretty unfortunate stigma, I feel like, for us to all hold based on the actions of, and I've always kind of wondered, like, what exactly, like, is going on that makes people outside of the United States kind of have that viewpoint on us, right? Because it is pretty unfortunate, because, I mean, like, the vast majority of Americans I know, like, aren't this way, you know? Like, the vast majority of people in my personal life that I know, even the ones who've traveled abroad, like, this is not the way they behave. But of course, you know, you get on TikTok and whatnot, you see videos like this and you're just like, oh, of course, like, typical entitled American doesn't understand culture outside of their own, you know, things like that. It's just one of those types of videos where, like, it begs the question of, how did you put yourself in this predicament and not realize you were putting yourself in this predicament? I don't know. I just more or less feel like every concern that's brought up in this video is really not even that big of a deal, if we're being honest. Like, it just feels like very stupid shit to be complaining about on vacation, especially going to other places that you know aren't like the United States, that aren't like the place that you call home. I'm just gonna assume this woman's American based on the accent, the, you know, slang, the fucking hand mannerisms, everything. It just screams American, so I'm just kind of making that assumption. But it blows my mind that somebody could film this video and just not realize the lack of self-awareness, right? Like, not realize, hey, I look stupid in this video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start this little adventure.
Every single influencer and TikToker who put the Amalfi Coast on my For You page over the last 2 months deserves jail time.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pause this one pretty early, because this right here, this beginning sentence tells you just about everything you need to know about the rest of this video. Oh, all these influencers and TikTokers who put this area on the For You page need to go to jail. What this means is this woman saw this place on TikTok, saw people going there and filming it or whatever for their social media, and was like, oh, you know, I need to go there too, right? Because everybody else, all the other cool influencers and all the other hip people are going there, right? So now I need to go there. It tells you everything you need to know, that right there, because nothing else comes out first, right? Nothing else. It's all about, oh, all these other people on social media, you know, they should be put in jail for making it seem the way that it is. So spoiler alert, her little vacation to this part of Italy here is not necessarily going as expected because of some pretty simple first world problem. And let's be real, when you see these first world problems, it's all shit that you could have just assumed, if not outright known, if you just, like, did a quick Google search. But it's shit that you could have just known with common sense, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the trifling, troubling issues that this obviously well-off, entitled American is going through on their luxurious coastal Italian vacation.
Because while they showed you the gorgeous coastlines and the cute little towns, what they didn't tell you were the disclaimers. First of all, it's impossible to get here. You have to fly into Naples, then you have to take a train from Naples to Sorrento. Then you have to stand in 90-degree weather waiting for a ferry to get on a ferry with all of your luggage. Mind you, we've been in Europe for 2 weeks.
All right, so yeah, this is one of those types of people who can't speak in complete sentences. They do what I like to call verbal runoff sentences, and this is like a really good test on, like, whether or not what somebody has to say is really worth listening to. If they can't, like, pause and actually, you know, take the time to articulate their thoughts and they just kind of spit fucking verbal soup at you, that just kind of tells you a lot more too, right there, right? Okay, so oh my god, so we had to get on a train, and then first we had to fly into Naples, but then we had to get on a train, and you have to actually get on the train and go somewhere else, and then it's 90-degree weather in the middle of fucking summer, keep you in mind there, in the middle of July. Who would have ever thunk that it'd be 90 degrees somewhere? And then you had to get on a ferry to go to this fucking secluded island that is off the coast of Italy. Like, it blows my mind, man. Like, first and foremost, none of those are concerns. Like, did you not realize that this was gonna be something you, like, what the fuck? You went on vacation to Italy, right? And you had to fly there, of course, to Naples, which, from what I've heard, is a very beautiful place. Then you're surprised that you had to get on a train to another place, and then we're further surprised that to get to an island, you had to get on a boat and go to the island. What exactly did you like, what's the problem? I don't understand. Now, this right here also tells me that we're dealing with an entitled American, because this seems to be the thinkings of somebody who has been raised in a very car-dependent infrastructure, and she's going to say something here in a minute that kind of tells on herself about that too. Here in America, like the major cities and like major metropolitans, they mostly have public transit and stuff like that, but a pretty good portion of the country doesn't really have like efficient or serviceable public transit. For instance, I live in Ohio. To get to, say, Indianapolis or Pittsburgh from most places in Ohio, the most sensible ways to get there are to either drive your car a couple hours or to actually get on an airplane and fucking fly there, because there's no serviceable public transit or rail that can get you to these areas. I mean, there's like Greyhound buses and stuff like that, of course, but those take sometimes actual days to get to different areas of the country. So this is somebody who apparently has never understood that outside of the United States, that car shit is not as, popular as it is here. Sure, they have cars and stuff like that, but yeah, when you go to a different country, when you go to a different fucking continent, more or less, you kind of have to get used to how they do things there. And unfortunately, not every place on the planet has a 4-lane highway that leads to every single place in the country. So yeah, you kind of have to take public transit. I don't know how this is something you wouldn't understand going to a place like Italy. Not only that, but it's something that you can figure out on Google in less than 1 second if you just do a simple Google search. And you would think that somebody who's taking a several weeks long vacation to Europe would like maybe want to kind of fucking like research the cultures of these areas and like how they do things there and what goes on there. But nah, it's okay. The people on TikTok showed a really pretty view, so of course she had to go there.
All of your luggage, lug it onto the ferry, get to Amalfi Coast, finally. Then, to get to the highest of the high points, the beautiful hotels with the gorgeous, there's no streets here. There's no cars driving. So you have to walk up 160 stairs with all of your luggage to get to the top of this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous area with these beautiful views. Carry it.
All right, so she's now complaining because she had to walk upstairs. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. But yeah, 160 stairs, that is a lot of stairs, I guess. But once again, what exactly did you fucking expect? You went to an island, right? Like a secluded area that apparently the only transportation in and out of is a fucking boat, like a ferry, right? And you're like surprised, I guess, that everyone there is not driving a fucking Toyota. I'm confused on what exactly you thought was gonna happen. So the Amalfi Coast, I just looked up, it's not actually an island. It is like on the southern area of Italy. It's like a coastline, but there are roads that lead out of it, but they're like windy and bendy, and the most popular / best way, I guess, to get there is through the ferry. So I don't know, like, it blows my mind. You've been in Europe for several weeks and you didn't realize that it's different. Like, you didn't realize that they don't have the fucking car infrastructure that we have. And just thinking about the entitlement it takes to complain about shit like this on TikTok in the first place. Like, you've been traveling Europe for weeks. You are lucky and privileged enough to be able to travel the fucking world pretty much at your own, like, discretion, it seems like. It isn't like you seem to be struggling for money or, like, struggling to, make a vacation. Most Americans that I know, if they take a vacation, they go to fucking Myrtle Beach, or they go to Gatlinburg, you know what I mean? Something like that. They don't go to the beautiful shorelines of Italy and get to drink wine on the rooftops of hotels overlooking the Mediterranean and shit. Like, just the lack of self-awareness in this whole video. Every single thing that she's complaining about is, like, simple enough to just infer, right? Like, hey, if I'm going to Italy, yeah, maybe it's going to be a little different than how it is here. Maybe they're not going to do shit like how it is here. Why would you go somewhere, apparently not research where you're going well enough to realize, like, what's going on with it, and then get mad that it's different, that, like, what the fuck is the point of vacation? Oh my god, I had to walk 160 stairs with my luggage. Like, yeah, imagine living there. You don't see the people there bitching and complaining about that.
And then also, all the power went out because the Amalfi Coast doesn't have the infrastructure to support this tourism. Oh my god.
So she's complaining that the power went out because, quote, this place doesn't have the infrastructure to handle all of the tourism. So, okay, let me get this straight, right? Let me just go ahead and fucking process this one in my brain, right? And it's gonna take me a second because it's confusing me, but you decided to go on a vacation to a place that doesn't have the infrastructure to handle the tourism that it's receiving, to the point that there's fucking blackouts, right? Like temporary rolling blackouts or whatever. And instead of being like, maybe I shouldn't go there because my presence being there and being a tourist there is probably a little harmful to the infrastructure of the place and I'm not gonna like it as much as maybe as I wanted to. There's a lot of shit I'm gonna complain about. Instead of that, you're like, nah, fuck it. TikTok said it was pretty cool. Let me go ahead and, I guess, schedule my visit or whatever. Like, the place is already struggling to handle the capacity of tourism that it's getting, and then you're, I guess, fucking Einstein decision idea was to then go there and then complain that the infrastructure couldn't handle you. And this is another thing I think Americans really take for granted too. Like, the power doesn't really go out very often here in the United States for most people. And so, like, in a lot of other countries and shit, there is rolling blackouts and shit like this does happen. And then, like, Americans are just fucking, like, mind blown when they go places and they realize that this shit happens. You know, it's videos like this that make me realize, like, man, this is why people actually think Americans are all fucking idiots. Because, like, they go to places and we travel to other areas of the world and then we behave this way. Like, I don't know. It just, like, I don't know, man. For me, also, when I go on vacation, my first thought isn't, how can I film a TikTok complaining about this? Like I said, you're blessed and privileged enough to get to travel Europe. You said you've been in Europe for fucking weeks, and you're gonna spend that time, right? You spend that time traveling the world when you could be experiencing the different cultures, experiencing the fucking different, you know, identities that these different countries have, the different histories, the different values, the different languages and people, the foods, the cuisines. Instead of, like, cherishing your time with all of that and doing those things, you're standing on top of the hotel fucking complaining that the power's been going out and you had to walk upstairs and you had to take a boat, quote, with all your luggage. Like the luggage was just gonna fucking teleport to your room or something for you. I don't know, man. It just blows my mind. Like, I've always wondered, why do people think Americans are fucking dumb when we go elsewhere? And then you see this, bro. I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's one of those things, right? Like, I feel like you only see shit like this on TikTok. I don't know, man. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. But until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about why Americans are viewed as dum-dums, and signing out.